Gather your heroes to secretly gain influence and become the Emperor. This is our review of Hidden Leaders.
Hidden Leaders is a hand management deduction game where players fight for the secret win condition. And I really like the multiplayer tug-of-war that happens in this game.
I really enjoyed this game, however not for the reasons we originally backed it. We'll tell you why after this quick how to play. Hidden Leaders is played in a series of turns, and ends when one player reveals the amount of face-up heroes required based on the player count.
On each player's turn, they can play a face-up card into their party and take the action underneath, or they can discard 3 cards.
Then the player will draw to 4 cards from either the tavern or the harbor.
Then the player will discard down to 3 cards and refill the tavern if needed.
The actions on the cards will allow players to move the red and green markers on the board.
Once the end game conditions have been met, the winning faction will be determined based on the positions of the red and green markers.
The player with the winning hidden faction wins. If there are 2 players with that faction, the player with the most heroes of that faction wins. This is one of those games that we saw on Kickstarter and we're like, Hidden Leaders, you think that's a hidden identity game? And we're like, maybe. So we kind of skimmed at it, probably not close enough, and we're like, it says deduction. That should be like hidden identity, right? It's not a hidden identity. It is a deduction game. You do get a faction card, and you have 2 factions, and that's hidden. So as you're playing the game, people don't know kind of which win condition you're going after, and that's the deduction. People kind of figure out, oh, I think you're going after the black color, or the green color, or the red, or the blue, and people kind of deduce that. But you don't really have a hidden identity. I still enjoyed the game, however, we backed it thinking it was a hidden identity, but it's not. To be fair, that is on us for not really reading the Kickstarter. That's not probably on them, because I'm sure that they explained it correctly. That's on us.
And that's fine. I mean, I'll take the blame for that because I think it just hit all my keywords, right? They were like hidden and deduction. And I think even the artwork, I really like the artwork. It looks kind of dark, maybe anime-ish, dark anime-ish. Anime-ish, we'll just call it that. So I kind of saw all those and said, okay, check mark. Let's go ahead and back it.
Once we got over the whole, this isn't a hidden identity game, it's just a deduction game, and it's really more of a tug of war. It's kind of, you're secretly pushing the markers to a win condition that will hopefully lead to one of your factions. Depending on if the red is in front or the green is in front, or if they're both in the graveyard, it'll determine if it's the black color, the green color, the red color, or the blue color that wins. So you're always playing cards that will give you an ability to move the red and green marker. Plus it'll give you other actions as well that will let you play heroes in your party. However, moving those markers is key because you want to make sure that no matter what, you have the winning faction. Because if you tie with another player, you have other ways to win and actually be the only winner. However, if you don't win that faction, you don't have any chance at winning whatsoever. So moving those markers is key.
The deduction part was pretty fun because each leader has one of 2 colors. And so it's face down and no one really knows, but they can tell by the face-up cards you're drawing, or maybe you're doing something to them that like gets rid of some of their stuff. So you can give hints and sometimes you can like throw them off by maybe going after a different color. But I think for the most part, people kind of know. And so it's like, oh, okay, everyone's going for this, really? And so you can try and pivot and go for the other color, but I don't know. I think I got to play this more in order to try and figure out like a strategy or something.
There's an equal ratio on the Hidden Leaders as far as a black and a green, then there's a black and a blue, and there's a black and a red, and then there's a green and blue, and a green and a red, and there's a red and a blue. So in any game that you play, there's always a chance that one of your factions will be the same as somebody else, and you may be going after the same win condition, in which case you need to make sure that of that winning faction, you have the most heroes. Now, in your party, you'll have face-up heroes, which will determine when the game ends, depending on what the number is and the number of players playing, and you'll have hidden heroes, which would be face down. And you can add more and more to those depending on the different actions that you have. So if someone only has 4 face-up heroes, but they have 6 or 7 hidden heroes, they may actually be more ahead of you in that winning faction. So there is a little bit of trickiness that once you do kind of figure out what faction they're going for, you still may not know if they're winning or if they're not winning. So you can deduce pretty early on who's going after what, but you can't always deduce where they are as far as who's in first, who's in second, who's in third, if we're all going after the same color.
When we played, one thing I saw that was just kind of luck of the draw with the leaders, right, was all 3 of them were going after the same color. And I was just kind of doing my own thing, but all 3 of them were doing that. So really 3 of them going after that win condition, I couldn't really do anything. So it was just like, whatever, let's just play. But I mean, you don't really know that until the end of the game. However, if it's like, man, you're always at this end, and it seems like all of you are doing that. Suspicious.
Yeah, if you end up playing a 4-player game and 3 people have the same color and they all are like, okay, we're all going to go for that. We're just trying to have the most heroes, and everyone's fighting, especially if it's down in the graveyard, and everyone else is moving there, and you're the only player trying to get it out of the graveyard. You're fighting a losing battle because it's 1 step back, 3 steps forward kind of things. However, I think that was just a fluke on that one. It can happen, but I think Lee just got particularly unlucky in that particular game.
Yeah, you know, I was just like, oh, you know what? I'm doing this. They don't really know 100% what I'm doing. But really all in their minds, they were like, we don't care. We're all going after this. Like, no one cares what you're doing.
You're going after that. You're going after that. I'm going after that. I don't care what Lee's doing.
Yeah.
Let's just...
I will say the whole tug of war aspect, I had to keep asking myself, like, okay, when is it that I win this? Because I have this color, but luckily there is a reference card that lets you know the 4 different win conditions and how to do it. And so this was handy, and I definitely appreciated, like, oh, okay, easy enough. Now I don't have to keep asking everyone, because if I'm like, hey guys, just randomly, right? Like, how does blue win again?
The box does say 2 to 6 players. We only ever got up to a 4-player game. We played 2 players and 3 players and 4-player games. I think 4 was already kind of a tug of war and things going on. Maybe 5 would have evened it out a little bit, because then Lee maybe would have had somebody when we were playing that 4-player game to counteract the fact that the other 3 didn't. But I think 5 and 6 might get a little bit too crowded with everything going on. I feel like 3 is a really good number. 4 is pretty good, unless you get that one situation that Lee got stuck in. It would be interesting, and I'm sure this is going to be an expansion or something, if you had a 3rd marker on the board with another set of conditions to win. Because I think with the 4 and the 6 hidden leaders, it could get repetitive after playing it a few times as far as what's going on. But if you had that 3rd win condition, and maybe even if it was like an AI, and maybe the AI could win and everybody loses except for the computer or something. I don't know. I could definitely see an expansion to this to making it even more interesting. And I could also see an expansion. You could turn this into a hidden identity game. If you had this and you had a phase where you had like a night phase, like in Werewolves, and everyone closed their eyes and you could take hidden actions based on your role, and then you played the game like normal, I think that would be a fun expansion. Or a house rule if someone wants to develop that. I think that this could have a hidden identity element, and then we really would be like, yeah, that's the game that we were thinking we were getting.
Overall, I really like the production quality. You've got all the nice like characters or heroes that looked really cool, like very bright colors. Not too wordy, but still some words that you have to like learn and symbols you have to learn. I really like the multiplayer like tug of war. So that's kind of fun, and I, like Kenny was mentioning, there could be other ways to expand on that, but definitely like that. Through no fault of the game, I'm gonna give it a 6, but that's because of my high expectations, because of my not being able to read so thoroughly. But I still did have fun.
Lee's giving the game a low score because he doesn't know how to read.
It's on me.
Overall, I really enjoyed this game. I'm gonna give the game a 7. I was expecting a different game, and so when I first played it and I was first learning it, I was like, oh, this isn't hidden identity, but once I got to playing it, I still really enjoyed it, and I'm happy that we ended up backing this game, even for the wrong reasons. I think a lot of people will enjoy this game. It's fun and quick, and I think the whole family will enjoy it. So, a 7. And that was our review of Hidden Leaders.
What'd you think? Do you have the heroes that it takes to become Emperor? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you're enjoying our content, please like this video, subscribe to our channel.
Until next time, I'm Lee.
I'm Kenny. I go party like a board gamer.